Now here we start with two poems, and this is going to be the last part for your completion of the 10th standard your portion. And once again, let me remind you, related to economics or any other history, geography, civics, any chapter of essays, if you need me to revise it in a pressy form, please do inform me, please. So with that, we come towards the end of the course of the 10th standard with these two poems. So let's start the first one, and that is the Tale of Custer the Dragon. Very interesting and going to be a bit lengthy one, but need not worry. It's equally interesting, and two videos also, animated videos, will be shown to you at the end, which will make the poem easier, right? Now, about the poet, F.O. Nash, 1902 to 1971, was an American poet. He was famous for his light verse, matlab light verse, matlab humorous. He was known as a producer of humorous poetry, and he received Sarah Josepha Hall Award in 1964. Introduction to this lesson, or it's like a lesson, of course, but written as in a poetic, it's a poem section mein hai. Ogden Nash has written a poem about little girl Belinda, who owns many pets. बहुत सारे pets है Belinda के पास, namely a black kitten named Ink, and then there is a grey mouse named Blink, and yellow dog named Mustard, and a coward, मतलब डरपोक dragon named Custard. The poet has described every character to be brave except the dragon, who is a coward, मतलब डरपोक. But the whole situation changes when a pirate attacked Belinda's house. Pirate मतलब चोर डाकू, वो जो एक आंख के ऊपर पट्टी बांध के ना यूजुअली ये जहाज की तरफ देखे हुए ऐसे लोग होते हैं वो अटैक्स एंड बहुत बड़ी चोरी जो करते हैं. तो यहाँ पे पायरेट नाम दिया गया है. When a pirate attacks Belinda's house, no one else had the guts, that is strength, to face him. But it was the dragon that killed the pirate. All the characters are happy because they are saved by the dragon, but quickly change their thoughts and describe themselves to be more powerful. Had the situation not been so confusing for all of them, सारे बदमाश निकले. खुश तो हुए कि ड्रैगन की वजह से हम बच गए, लेकिन फिर उन्होंने एकदम से अपने थॉट्स चेंज कर लिए कि अगर ये सिचुएशन कंफ्यूजिंग ना होती तो हम ही पायरेट को हरा देते और भगा देते, राइट? So the summary: The Tale of the Custer the Dragon is a ballet, a humorous poem about a cowardly dragon named Custer. Custer is the pet of Belinda, a little girl who lives in a little white house with her pets. She had a black kitten named Ink, grey mouse named Blink, yellow dog Mustard, and a cowardly dragon Custer. The poet says that all of them are very brave, except Dragon. Others were described as brave and are compared with animals like bear, tiger, lion. But Dragon is very darpok, timid. He always demands a safe place for himself. All the other characters make fun of him. But one night they are surprised by the entry of a pirate in the house. They were shocked. All of them are frightened. They get frightened and start hiding here and there. But to everyone's surprise, the dragon not only tackles him, but also eats him up. As all of them are saved by Custard, they thank him. But at the end, they realize that they used to make fun of Dragon because of his being timid or coward. So all of them suddenly start saying that yes, we are more brave than Dragon and could have handled the situation in a much better way. Here the poet has tried to say that sometimes a timid person is actual hero in the toughest situations of life. Let's start. Stanza 1. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten, a little grey mouse, a little yellow dog, and a little red wagon, and a real trillion little pet dragon. A wagon matlab a vehicle used for transporting goods on other specified purpose. Special means किसी और specific या particular fixed particular कह सकते हो purpose के लिए vehicle use होता है उसको हम wagon कहते हैं. The poet says that once there was a little girl called Belinda. She lived in a little white house. She lived with some of her pet creatures. They were a black kitten, yellow gray mouse, yellow dog, little red wagon, and a creature that the poet says was really and truly a dragon. Now the name of little black kitten was Ink, and that of little grey mouse was Blink, and little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, and the dragon was a coward, so she called him a custard. मस्टर्ड मतलब रई जो कहते हैं ब्लैक कलर के राउंड जो हम कुकिंग में यूज करते हैं, ऑयल में डालते हैं और उसकी जो तड़ आवाज होती है, व्हेन दैट मस्टर्ड इज रेडी टू बी हार्वेस्टेड तो येलो फ्लावर्स आ जाते हैं फार्म में, इट लुक ब्यूटीफुल. तो अ येलो कलर्ड फ्लावर, कावर्ड मतलब डरपोक, वीकलिंग. The poet explains the name of the animals that are tamed or that are they are pet of Belinda. They are tamed by Belinda. Belinda ने उनको pet बनाया है अपना. He says that the name of black kitten is Ink, grey mouse is Blink, yellow dog is called yellow, had yellow color, so calls him mustard. Dragon coward था इसलिए weakling, मतलब weakling था, डरपोक था, उसको नाम दिया custard. यहाँ तक तो बैठ हो ही गया होगा क्योंकि 3-4 बार हम बोल गए. Now third stanza. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath. ये scales हैं, ये बहुत बड़े spikes भी हैं. Mouth like a fireplace, आग निकलती रहती है. Chimney for a nose and realio trulio मतलब really truly. Daggers on his toes और toes पे जैसे खंजर जैसे नाखून. फिर भी वो डरपोक, right? Spikes, thin pointed surface, scales underneath, fireplace, dagger, right? There's a sharp knife, उसको हम खंजर कहते हैं. The poet describes, it is B over here, describes the dragon that it had big sharp teeth and spikes on top. This means that his skin was pointed on the top. On the lower part of the body, it has scales which are bony plates to protect the skin. His mouth has been compared to a fireplace because it is assumed, ऐसा माना जाता है, that dragons can release fire from the mouth. Even his nose is compared to the chimney which is used to pass out smoke. His feet are like a sharp knife that is a dagger. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. Barrel मतलब wooden drum जिसमें बियर वगैरह रखते हैं, wine. And Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, anger, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. So now the poet explained that the inner strength or the bravery of various characters of the poem. कि देखते हैं कौन से character कितने brave हैं. He says that Belinda was as brave as a group of bears, and Ink and Blink was so brave that they could hunt lion. So here he has shown the bravery of the kitten and the little mouse that could hunt even a lion. मतलब mouse lion को भी hunt कर ले. Kitten brave है. Dog was very brave, just like an angry tiger. But to contrast of all of them was Custard. सारे छोटे मोटे पेट एनिमल्स ब्रेव लाइक बिग वाइल्ड एनिमल्स, लायन, टाइगर एटसेट्रा, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा जो ड्रैगन था, जो वाइल्ड था, वो डरपोक था, तो उसको नाम दिया कस्टर्ड. कस्टर्ड द ड्रैगन वाज नॉट सो ब्रेव, ही वाज वेरी अफ्रेड ऑफ एवरीथिंग दैट ही ऑलवेज डिमांडेड अ सेफ केज. और वो हमेशा डिमांड करता, भाई मेरे लिए एक अच्छा सा केज बना दो जिसमें मैं सेफली अपने आप को रख दूं, कोई मुझे आकर अटैक ना करे. Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmercifully, मतलब क्रूअली, एक्चुअली नॉट क्रूअली, जैसे कोई तुम्हें टिकल करे, गुदगुदी करे, एंड देन बहुत 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 अगर तुम्हें गुदगुदी हो तो एट द एंड इतनी कोई गुदगुदी करे कि तुम रोने लग जाओ. यू कांट बेयर इट, इसलिए लिखा है यहाँ पे क्रूअली अनमर्सीफुली, मतलब टीज करना. Belinda teased him and teased him unmercifully. Ink, Blink, Mustard, they also rudely called him Percival. That's a knight, मतलब a soldier in King Arthur's court. Wow, तुम तो कितने बहादुर हो. It's an ironically, उसकी मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. They all sat laughing, little red wagon at the yellow trio cowardly dragon. So Belinda used to stroke the dragon in a very cruel way. Ink, Blink, Mustard made fun of him by comparing him with a soldier named Percival, who was thought to be brave but ran away due to lack of courage. अब Percival एक माना जाता था बहादुर सोल्जर ऑफ किंग आर्थर्स कोर्ट, बट एक्चुअल में जब करेज दिखाने का मौका आता बैटलफील्ड पे तो भाग जाता पीठ दिखा के. तो पर्सिवल के साथ किसको कंपेयर किया गया है? कस्टर्ड. दे यूज्ड टू टीज द ड्रैगन दैट इज कस्टर्ड व्हाइल सिटिंग इन द लिटिल रेड वैगन. और लिटिल रेड वैगन में बैठे बैठे सारे पेट एनिमल्स और बेलिंडा ड्रैगन की मजाक उड़ाते, ज्यादातर छोटे मोटे एनिमल्स उसकी मजाक उड़ाते। बेलिंडा गिगल लाइक शी शुड द हाउस। अब बेलिंडा गिगल मतलब इतना हंसती थी कि छोटा सा घर हिल जाता, राइट। एंड ब्लिंक सेड वीक, which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. The poets say that Belinda used to laugh so loudly that her voice echoed in the house. Blink the mouse used to laugh and make a sound of wick, मतलब mouse ऐसी आवाज करती wick. On the other end, Ink and Mustard would tease him by asking the dragon his age whenever he used to demand for a nice safe cage. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, a very unpleasant bad. And Mustard growled, shouted, barked, and they all looked around. Meow, cried Ink, and oof, cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window, that is window. So while all of them were making fun of the dragon sitting in the little red wagon, they heard a sound of someone entering the house. When they looked towards the window, they saw a pirate climbing up the wall. The dog barked at him, and the kitten meowed to him, and Belinda cried, "Ooh," because all of them were scared of this robber, of the pirate, as I told you, who robs the ships. ऐसे काला यहाँ पे लगा के एक आंख पे और बांध देते हैं ऐसे. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was good. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. Pistol मतलब गन हाथ में ली हुई. कटलैस मतलब एक छोटा सा स्वॉर्ड होता है विद अ कर्व्ड ब्लेड, और उसका पैर था वुडन. ये लॉयला की जो एग्जाम हुई थी तो उसमें एमसीक्यू में पूछा गया था, तो ऐसे भी बीच बीच में से आ सकते हैं तुम्हारे क्वेश्चंस, एमसीक्यूज, दैट व्हाट इज कटलास, या दांतों के बीच क्या था, या कटलास कहाँ पे था, एंड ब्राइट कटलास, या पिस्टल कौन से हाथ में थी, तो राइट या लेफ्ट, या राइट एंड लेफ्ट बोथ, it was in both hands. The poet describes the appearance of the pirate. True mark of pirate ka appearance in this whole stanza, I would say. He says that the pirate was holding handguns in both the hands and had a little sword. Sword bhi tha, yeah, little sword too, and that was in between his teeth. He was holding his sword with his teeth. He had a black beard and his one leg was made of wood. This means that though the pirate was a disabled person, but still he was frightening all the other characters. हैंडीकैप था मतलब डिसेबल था, एक पैर नहीं था, वुड का पैर लगा हुआ था, फिर भी वो डरा रहा था दूसरों को. लोग डरते थे ऐसे पायरेट से. मोर ओवर इंटेंडेड टू हार्म देम, और मेन इंटेंशन क्या था, चोरी करना और इनको सबको हार्म करना, अटैक करना. बेलिंडा पेल, डर गई, एंड शी क्राइड हेल्प हेल्प, बट मस्टर्ड फ्लेड विद अ टेरिफाइड येल्प. मस्टर्ड तो भाग गया, येल्प मतलब जोर से चिल्ला के. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household. Ink तो चला गया अपने होल में, and little mouse blinked strategically mouse hole. Mouse भी चला गया अपने घर में. When all of them saw the pirate, they got frightened. Belinda was so frightened that she turned yellow, that is pale, weak, डर, due to fear, and started crying for help. Mustard the dog started crying for help too. The kitten Ink ran down toward the bottom of the house as if he had already planned for it. And the mouse Ink ran into his little mouse hole in order to save himself. So stanza 10, let's see. So the 10th stanza, that's, let's start about, but up jumped the custard, snorting like an engine, clashed still like irons in a dungeon. Dungeon matlab underground prison. And with a clatter, that sound of some hard object falling on each other, and a clank and a jangling squirm, the sound of hard object falling on each other, same like jangling and clatter and clank and squirm and all, सारे आवाज जो होती है एक दूसरे पे जो चीज जब गिरती है. He went to the pirate like a robin at a worm, that is like a bird. जैसे bird कभी अपने खाने पे worm पे झपट पड़े, वैसे ही कस्टर्ड झपट पड़ा पायरेट पे. When all the other characters that were earlier defined as very brave got frightened. सारे characters starting के सब stanza में बताया गए, सारे strong और कस्टर्ड की हमेशा मजाक उड़ाते थे कि वो डरपोक है and all. वो सारे इस मोमेंट पे पैरेट को देख के डर गए, अपने अपनी जगह पे छिप गए. द ड्रैगन इज द मोस्ट अनएक्सपेक्टेड थिंग. लेकिन ड्रैगन जिसको डरपोक माना जाता था, उसने कुछ अजीब ही कुछ अलग से काम किया. अनएक्सपेक्टेड थिंग ही डिड. The most unexpected thing is written. He jumped onto the pirate and made such a strong sound with his nose, as if the engine was producing a sound. Not only this, he hit his tail on the ground with great force, that it produced a big sound, heavy sound of metal being rubbed against each other in the underground prison. और जैसे अंडरग्राउंड प्रिजन में मेटालिक चीज एक दूसरे पे अगर गिर रही और जो आवाज आए ग्रेट फोर्स से, वैसी आवाज उसने प्रोड्यूस की कस्टर्ड ने, मतलब द ड्रैगन. He attacked the pirate just like Robin Bird attacks its worm. That is the खाने पे जैसे worm पे जैसे झपट पड़े. Just like that, how the pirate did, just like the Robin Bird that attacked the worms. 11th stanza. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon, मतलब stared with mouth wide open and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. Gulp मतलब to swallow. Grog मतलब to some drink. He fired to bullets, but they didn't hit. फिर उसने गोलियां चलाई, तो चली नहीं, लगी नहीं किसी को. And Custard gobbled him every bit. Gobbled मतलब swallowed it down. The pirate got so shocked by the dragon's reaction that he opened his mouth wide with shock. My God, ये क्या हो रहा है? कोई डर ही नहीं रहा यहाँ पे, तो सारे डर गए, लेकिन सामने तो ड्रैगन खड़ा है इतना बड़ा, बिना डरे. To gather some strength, he drank some alcohol from the container in his pocket. After gathering some courage, Pirate fired 2 bullets on the dragon but missed it. Buster the dragon ate every bit of this fierce-looking pirate. Belinda embraced him. अब चला गया pirate तो dragon के पेट में. Belinda embraced him. Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and blink in glee, that is in happiness, did Garrett, that is they danced. सारे खुशी में डांस कर रहे हैं. Around the dragon that ate the pirate. When the pirate was dead and eaten by the dragon, Belinda went and embraced, that is, hugged the dragon, and Mustard licked him. No one was sad for the death of the pirate. They all were happy. Both Ink and Blink were running around the dragon in happiness. So here the poet says that all the characters were happy and they were showing their gratitude towards the dragon as he had saved them. सब लोग उसको थैंक्स कह रहे हैं क्योंकि ड्रैगन ने सबको बचाया. सारे खुश हो रहे हैं. But presently I spoke like a little dog Mustard. लेकिन एकदम से डॉग मस्टर्ड खुद बोल पड़ा. I would have been twice as brave if I had not been flustered, मतलब confused or upset. देखो बदमाश कहता है मैं ड्रैगन से 2 टाइम्स ज्यादा मतलब डबल द टाइम ब्रेवरी अपनी में बता पाता अगर मैं थोड़ा कंफ्यूज या अपसेट ना होता पैरेट को देख के. And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. We also would have been 3 times as brave, we think. अरे 2 टाइम के हम तो 3 times उससे ब्रेव होते. And Custard said, I quite agree that you all are braver than me. That everybody is braver than me. बेचारा Custard बहुत अच्छा. After they thanked and showed their love towards the dragon, they changed their mind. They were reminded of how they used to make fun of this coward dragon. कि अब तक तो हम उसकी मजाक उड़ा रहे थे कि हाय डरपोक डरपोक. And now they all were praising him for his bravery. ये थोड़ा अहम बीच में आ गया, you know, that ego and all. So at once the dog said, oh, it was just because of some confusion that he wasn't able to do anything. Otherwise, he would have been twice as brave as Custard. And both Ink and Blink also said that they would have been 3 times braver than Custard. That is the dragon. और बेचारा ड्रैगन कहता हाँ भाई हाँ बहुत अच्छी तरह से without any ego and all. He fully agreed to this, that all of them were more powerful and braver than him. And the 14th stanza, Belinda still lives in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse and her little yellow dog and a little red wagon and a yellow Trullo little pet dragon. Belinda आज भी उन्हीं सबके साथ अपने छोटे से घर में रह रही है. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of beers. And Ink and Blink chase Lion down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage. But Custard keeps crying for a nice, safe cage. So at last the poet used the same lines again to show that after this terrific episode, एक डरावनी चीज, terrifying चीज के साथ जो भी हुआ वो एक एपिसोड, एक इवेंट घर में, and with the dragon was a hero, where all the other characters still undermined him. Undermine मतलब उसको underestimate करते थे by saying that they were more powerful than him and could have handled the situation in a much better way. The poet says life started again in the same manner as it was before. Belinda still lives in that little white house with ink, bling, mustard, and custard, and all of them are very brave. Whereas the dragon is still a coward who always wants to stay safe in his cage. चलो एक और poem करते हैं. For Annie Gregory. This is a short poem, don't worry. Or 2 animated videos will follow. So enjoy it. Let's see about the poet. William Butler Yeats, 1865 to 1939, was an Irish nationalist, was educated in London and Dublin, and was interested in folklore and mythology. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. Introduction to the poem. W.B. Yeats has tried to touch a very important topic through his poem. He says that it is almost impossible to find a person in your life who loves you truly. By saying truly, he means the one who loves you for your qualities and not your looks. मतलब truly का मतलब है कोई truly love नहीं करता किसी और को. और truly का मतलब यहाँ पे क्या है poet का कि true मतलब the one who loves you not for your looks but for your qualities. He says that only God loves us for what we are from within, from inside. Summary of the poem. The poem is basically a conversation between a poet Yeats and a young girl named Annie Gregory. The poet tells her that if she finds a young boy who becomes sad because of a rejection, मतलब अगर लड़की reject कर दे, लड़का बेचारा sad हो जाए, it doesn't mean that he was a true love. He could have been in love with her because of her beautiful yellow hair. This means that the boy might be in love with her because of her attractive looks. He says that the true lover will be the one who will love her for her inner qualities and not her looks. To this, Annie says that she will change her looks by dyeing her hair, as coloring her hair into some other color. Then let's see whether the boy loves her or not. That boy or any other boy. She'll become less attractive and then maybe she will find a true love for herself. So at last he explains to her that the previous night he had heard some religious man saying, Sadhu Sant, वो कहते हुए सुना है previous night, poet ने, that only God loves us for what we are. This means that God never loves us for our looks, but he loves us for our inner beauty. So let's see. For Annie Gregory poem and explanation, we'll see. Never shall a young man, thrown into despair, that is sadness, by those great honey-colored ramparts at a year, love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. Despair, sadness, ramparts with the high, wide walls around a castle or fort. And this poem is a conversation between a poet and a young girl named Anne Gregory. The poet says to this young girl that a young man can become sad, sorrowful, yeah, hopeless if you will reject him. But this doesn't mean that he had true love for you in his heart. Maybe it's because you have beautiful hair. You look so very beautiful, with which he had fallen in love. The girl has very beautiful hair. They fall on her ears and seemingly protect them just like a boundary wall protecting the fort. So here the poet is pointing out at the reality which many people face during their young time, their youth, that they are liked by the opposite gender, not because of their inner beauty. लोग हमेशा किसी को पसंद करते हैं तो उसके रंग रूप से, ना कि उसकी good qualities से. So people, they don't love the other opposite gender because of their inner beauty or qualities, but because of their appearance, of course. But I can get a hair dye and set such color there, brown or black or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone and not my yellow hair. And he replies that she has a nice solution to the situation. She can color, that is dye her hair, and change the color into black, brown or carrot, that is a bit of orangish. And this will no longer make her look less attractive. क्योंकि ये black, brown या light orangish color उसको इतना beautiful नहीं बनाएंगे. वो थोड़ी कम attractive दिखेगी लड़कों को. Then maybe she will find a young man who will love her inner beauty and not her appearance. I heard an old religious man, but yesternight, but the previous night, declared that he had found a text to prove that only God, my dear, could love you for yourself alone, that is for inner beauty, qualities, and not your yellow hair. After hearing Annie Gregory, the poet says that he had heard an old religious man say that he could prove a fact with a text that he had found in some religious book. The fact was that it is only God who loves us for what we are and not how we look. He loves us for our inner qualities, and only God can do this. So with this, we end with this 2 poem, and of course with our 10th का कोर्स इसके साथ कंप्लीट हो रहा है 100%. Yes, but revision will continue. जैसे ग्रामर चल रहा है and at the same time जैसे एक्टिव पैसिव अब हम स्टार्ट करेंगे. Before that, I would say please go through the tenses once again, and parts of speech will be easy for you. And yes, अगर कोई एसएस का चैप्टर रिपीट करवाना है, कोई पोएम्स रिपीट करवानी है, प्रेसी फॉर्म, रिवीजन फॉर्म, प्लीज या व्हाट्सएप कर लो या पर्सनली मुझे कॉल करो. थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू.
Let's take a look at For Annie Gregory by W.B. Yeats. Conversations are great unless they are about depressing topics. But even then, they are quite informative. One always learns something. Yeats' poem is a conversation between a young man and woman. The young man is sharing his opinion on how the world really works. He believes that the world usually places a lot of importance on outward beauty. He claims that young men are attracted to Annie Gregory because of her honey-colored hair. In other words, her looks. Such men love her only because of her beauty. They will never love her for who she really is. The young woman listens to his words and thinks of a solution. She feels all she has to do is dye her hair black or brown or carrot. Then men will love her for herself and not just for her yellow hair. The young man seems amused by this response. He tells her about an old man he met the previous night. This religious man had found a book which proved that only God could love a person for who she or he is. In other words, men will always look for beauty. Let's look at the literary elements of the poem. In the poem, the phrase honey-colored ramparts is an example of metaphor. Yeats, through the metaphor, compares Annie Gregory's hair to the walls of a fort. The walls of a fort hide and protect the city. So also, the hair hides the true self of Annie Gregory. The phrase, your yellow hair, is an example of alliteration. Yeats uses alliteration to enhance the musical quality of his poem. In the poem, the phrase, yellow hair, has been repeated many times. By repeating this phrase, the poet is reinforcing the notion of external beauty. The word despair is also repeated in the poem. It reflects the young man's feelings for Annie Gregory. Synecdoche is a figure of speech where a part refers to the whole. Here, yellow hair refers to Annie Gregory. But I can get a hair dye and set such color there, brown or black or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone and not my yellow hair. In this stanza, the words there, despair, and hair rhyme with each other. Let's assign B to these words. The words dye, carrot, and alone do not rhyme with each other. Let's assign A, C, and D to these words. So the rhyme scheme of the stanza is AB, CB, DB. For Annie Gregory, paints our interesting picture of beauty. By doing so, it gives us some food for thought. Let's see what happens in the tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. Belinda lived in a little white house. She lived with a little black kitten called Ink, a grey mouse called Blink, a brave yellow dog called Mustard, and a cowardly pet dragon called Custard. She also had a little red wagon. Now, Custard had sharp teeth. Spikes grew out of his back. His skin was covered with scales and he had long knife-like toes. He could also breathe fire, but all he wanted was a safe cage for himself. Belinda, Ink, Blink, and Mustard all considered themselves very brave. So, when Custard, a fierce-looking dragon, cried for a cage, they did not spare him. Belinda tickled him. Ink, Blink, and Mustard rudely called him names. They all laughed at Custard, the cowardly dragon. Belinda laughed so hard it shook the house. Blink giggled. Ink and Mustard rudely called Custard old. But Custard only cried for a cage. Suddenly they heard a sound. Belinda cried out. There was a pirate climbing in the window. The pirate looked mean. He had 2 pistols in his hand. Between his teeth he held a sharp knife. He also had a black beard and a wooden leg. It was clear he was there to do them harm. Belinda cried for help. Mustard fled. Ink climbed down the house, and Blink ran into a mouse hole. But Custard sprang up to confront the pirate. The pirate stopped at the sight of the dragon. He took a sip from his bottle and fired 2 bullets at Custard. But the bullets did not harm Custard. He simply ate the pirate. Now Belinda hugged him. Mustard licked him in affection. Ink and Blink danced around Custard. No one cried for the pirate. But then Mustard said he could have been twice as brave if he hadn't been surprised. Ink and Blink also said they could have been thrice as brave. Custard agreed and said that everyone was braver than him. Belinda still lives in her little white house with Ink, Blink, Mustard, and Custard. She, Ink, Blink, and Mustard still consider themselves brave. And Custard still cries for a nice, safe cage. Now, let us look at the literary elements of the poem, The Tale of the Custard the Dragon. The poem is in the form of a ballad, a long poem usually set to music. Nash uses this form to narrate the tale of Custard the Dragon and how he defeats a pirate. There are several instances of simile in a poem. The phrases sharp as mustard, mouth like a firepiece, as brave as a barrel full of bears, brave as a tiger in a cage, snorting like an engine, and clashed his tail like iron in a dungeon are examples of simile in the poem. Through this device, Nash creates humorous descriptions of the characters in the poem. Nash uses repetition at various points in the poem to create a rhythmical effect in the poem. He also uses it to build humor in the poem. The word weck is an example of onomatopoeia in the poem, where the word mimics the sound of a rat's giggle. Similarly, the word clatter, clank, and jangling are examples of onomatopoeia in the poem. When a poet disregards the rules of language, he uses poetic license in his works. The words realio, trulio, and weck are made up of words that Nash uses to impart humor to the poem. Through this, he practices poetic license. Also, he has changed window to winda to maintain the rhyme scheme of the poem. The line "Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of bears" is an example of alliteration in the poem. While Nash uses a 4-line rhyme scheme for all stanzas, he uses 6 lines for stanza 13. Let's look at the first stanza. In these lines, the words house and mouse rhyme. So do wagon and dragon. So, if we assign A to house and B to wagon, then the rhyme scheme of the poem is AABB. Now let's look at the 13th stanza. In this stanza, mustard, flustered, blink, think, agree and me rhyme with each other. Let's assign A to flustered and mustard, B to blink and think, and C to agree and me. So, the rhyme scheme for this stanza is AABBCC. This poem is in the form of a light verse, a poem which uses humor to convey a message. Through the poem, the poet shows how a crisis can reveal the character of a person.